Yeah, let me show you that. We already have some of this. You first turn the power supply on, power supply 2. So we're looking to make sure it's not open, the system's not open, and it's not shorted. So for this here, here's a check step before you run. Check that the voltage is less than 800. If it's open, you're not going to get a plasma. If it's shorted, you know. So we're checking this between these values. And if it's between these values, we're going to go ahead and run.
This is for DC.
This is where DC. We also have one for RF. So it's just checking the right, getting the right recipe, the sub recipes within. Like I said, we have all these sub recipes within here.
So how do we know which one? If we're starting something new, how do we know?
Oh, you're going to have to look. Yeah, you're really going to have to look. As I was mentioning earlier, I would copy an existing recipe. So if I'm going to uncheck this. And I would play in this sandbox here, but always keep your as delivered recipes so you can refer back to. So this one here, you don't want to run heating and everything, I take it. I'm just going to eliminate that.
So you are saving those to the system now?
Yeah, yeah.
Those are the kind of templates.
Yep. I'm just going to put without heat. Yeah. This is how simple it is to, nest recipes, unnest recipes. I really don't know what you ultimately want to do, but you can just make a series of sub recipes and do what you want. You want to run ITO, it seems like. So, do you have any other targets than the aluminum one you have in here that's 2-inch?
No, we have 4-inch VO2 one, right?
Yeah.
But he has the recipe, right? He has recipe used for last time.
Oh, the operating condition?
Operating condition. Yeah. I put it in. Because each system, I understand, is a little different. So maybe there's something settings maybe slightly different.
need you guys to just, come up and just kind of get acclimated with different ways of making recipes, either your pick signal or creating it on your own. I am going to stress, use what's here, copy it, kind of play in that manner. Okay. So, if you click on the master recipes and those, kind of one without heat, it's probably the simplest. Just click on view recipe. Look over to the right.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. So this is it. These are all the steps, and it's going to execute each step. It's going to go down to the next line.
And if I want to make a copy, I have to do it just simply click copy step.
So in this one here, what I would do, I would go back to the main, the list, return to the list. All right. Since that's highlighted, duplicate this one. Okay. All right. So I would play in this one here. In fact, can you go back to the list again? Check edit disable on the other ones. Yeah, that way it kind of prompts you not to. Yeah, exactly. I'll play in this one here. So when you make a copy, it gives you a copy with a time and date stamp. So you can name it whatever you want. Maybe it's your sample training recipe or something of that manner. And then you can select the category which in the drop down, or you can create your own category. You can set the security level, who has access to it, based upon your login.
So super user is the highest, right? I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just keep it super user. And then check include the run list, will show up here. Run recipe is being able to be run from my list.
So if I wanted to just run this recipe as it is,
yep.
What do I click on to do so? I wasn't seeing.
So if you go return to list, this is highlighted. You can click run current recipe.
Gotcha.
And it'll run there. If it's in the run list, it'll show up in here. You click run recipe. So this is how you run recipes that aren't included in the run list.
Oh, so I'll just click run current recipe and then automatically.
Yeah, automatically run. So let's actually go within that recipe though. So what's nice is that you can move things around with the drag and drop area. So click on it, drag it up somewhere, it'll drop it into a new spot. If you right click over in this box over here, I right click, you can insert a blank row above, so you can enter some values there. If you highlight a step, it'll copy it. If you highlight a step, you can delete it. You can highlight multiple steps and copy those.
So when I delete the other
Whenever we test this, we run all the sub-recipes. We know they work. We nest them together in the right order, and they're going to work for the other ones.
And you mentioned that you always start with a board recipe.
Yeah, you always start with an abort. So let's say that you don't have an abort and you have a check step. It's going to run what they call the abort default, and it's going to shut everything down. So you can run without it, but it's best to put it in there because it'll keep your pumping going. We've even made aborts. We call them abort no action. And that recipe abort was a 2-second dwell. It doesn't do anything. So you could do that if you want. So, but I like to rate the aborts for what it's going to protect.
So underneath the equipment operation, I'm seeing all these additional, I guess, procedures that look similar to what was on the main screen before, like before this.
Yeah, because you're setting a recipe. Now these aren't abort recipes, but these are regular recipes, but they show up in the recipe list. Because that's the first line. Gotcha. So if you went, so that's where it says, these are all recipes. If you click down in line 11, where it says motor, since that's not a recipe, go over to that same column, equipment operation. You have a more finite number of operations you can do.
Okay. That's what
Okay. So, like I say, a lot of times I get asked, well, what do these do? I had our software guys make a spider list. It was overwhelming how many different parameters you can do. And that's why I always just try to stress, if something works, go through that, use that, copy it. And if you don't really know, use the pick signal and just kind of go through the screen and think of those logical steps you would do. Like I made that little recipe, I was showing how you just set up things. turn on the pump, check that it's enabled, check your four-line pressure. You know, think of how you're going to run a process.
Okay.
Let's actually create a recipe without sub-recipes.
Well, I think I did something just now. I clicked configuration, and then it brought me over into something else.
Oh, so click to return to the previous recipe.
Oh, okay.
So